Oh, I love that catchy little tune. Hello, hello. This is Everything Hypnosis Pro at 12:30 Pacific Time on Wonderful Wednesday. Hi there, I'm Susie Bowers. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and coach. And this is for you, if you are a hypnotherapist, coach of any kind, life coach, business coach, success coach, whatever you are, or you're alternative or holistic practitioner. And in any case, you want to learn how to build your business to 6 figures or more, or a high 5 figures, whatever it is, and build the foundation for scaling up to $1 million business or multiple 6 figures, whatever you have as your goal to do in your business. Everything Hypnosis Pro is for you. So I'm Susie Bowers from Hypno Professional Publishing and the 6-Figure Success System, in which I give you everything you need to put the foundational systems in place to create a successful business for yourself. Now, I'll be honest with you, this system works for any business. I have clients that have been online e-commerce businesses selling spices, clients that own brick and mortar, herbal and vitamin stores, chiropractors. I mean, this would work for real estate agents, lawyers. I mean, anybody that wants to improve their business, restaurants, it doesn't matter. The whole idea behind the 6-Figure Success System is to build those systems that help you nurture relationships with your potential clients and your clients so that they keep coming back and want to work with you. But particularly today, I'm going to be talking to you if you are a coach or hypnotherapist, holistic practitioner, on how to overcome those dreaded words. I can't afford you. And it comes up, and the reason why it comes up is because we have to learn those skills of helping people make good decisions for themselves. We're not here to trick anybody or manipulate anybody. Of course, none of us want to be salesy weirdos. I love that term. I'm a salesy weirdo. I've been in sales all my life, and I'll be honest with you, hardcore sales is just not fun. I don't enjoy it. I really don't. It's not a fun thing. And so we're going to talk about how to work around that. Now, as a coach or a hypnotherapist, holistic practitioner, maybe you're doing some I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. You're doing some alternative healing work, that kind of thing. You're going to counsel people. Our job, and even when I was in real estate, my job was not to coerce people into working with me or coerce them into writing a contract and committing to a huge mortgage or, committing to selling their house if they weren't ready. My job was to sit down and determine what is their motivation? What is it that they'd like to accomplish and what's been holding them back? And what tools and steps do they need in order to make a good decision and understand everything they need to understand so that the investment in themselves in a real estate or whatever it is makes sense. It's got to make sense that the timing is right for them. Maybe a plan has to be put in place. It's exactly the same as a hypnotherapist, coach, or in any business where we're helping people. We have to look at it as we are a good friend, a counselor, but a business person, but very much business-like, so they can trust us and see us as the expert in the niche that we're working in, whatever that niche is. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. So consumers, people that call you, right? So your marketing's working, your social media, you're using your six-figure system, your website is a lead capture system for you, your blog posting, your social media, maybe you're doing live video like this, like I'm doing today. And it's attracting those ideal clients to you. And they call you up, but what's the first thing out of their mouth when you answer the phone? Oh, how much do you charge for blank? Your hypnosis stuff. That's what people do because we are all consumers, and that's the first way we think of, is it going to be, but in our world, in self-development and transformational work that we do, price is not the determination of value. Not even close, right? Thank you for joining me. I'm really glad you're here. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop it down in the chat. I'm going to try to pay attention over here on my phone. So thanks for coming. So I want to talk about that today and how we have to shift our own mindset into that nurturing, building rapport, developing the know, like, and trust factor. We're all familiar with that. And how you can do it in a hypnotherapy and coaching environment. So last week, this is part 2 of overcoming the dreaded I can't afford it, but what that really means. We're going to talk about what that really means. I'm going to show you the forms that I use during my consultations. I'm going to talk a little bit about the phone etiquette and how to answer questions like that when people ask you price. And we're going to pop up the mind model again. So these are some of the things I talked about last week, and the my confidential intake form and how I use that to learn the language of this potential client. So I'm really hitting their pain points. Look, we all have pain points. I mean, my pain point is right now I need to start working out more and I'm feeling a little flabby. So that's a pain point for me. So if I'm talking to somebody, I reach out to somebody and say, hey, can you help me? Say a workout coach. And can you help me? And then they're talking to me and asking, well, what specifically do you want to work on? How has that been bothering you? How is it affecting you in your life? You're listening for those clues. You're listening for, is their relationship? They're feeling I'm flabby and it's affecting my sex life or my relationships with my clothes or whatever it is. So you're looking for those hot buttons, and that's why you're going to ask those curious questions. And that's, to get them. So first off, so let's talk about phone, because that's the first thing that's going to happen, right? Either someone's going to reach out to you by phone, they're going to call and you're going to say, hey, California Hypnosis Center, this is Susie. They say, hey, how much do you charge to quit smoking? Your quit smoking hypnosis. And of course, I'm not going to tell them what I charge right away because they're price shopping. First, I have to help their mindset understand that it's not about price. It's about solving this urgent problem. And in that case, it's to quit smoking, which we all know is a deadly, deadly habit. And so we have to get to know them. If you just throw out, oh, I charge, $1,000 for that, they're going to go, what? Oh, no way, man. That's going to be like, ah. But when you create the value because you build the relationship and the rapport with them, it's a whole different ball game. So I'm going to use the smoking example as an example of what I'm talking about because it's so obvious. And actually, smoking cessation is the only time I tell the price over the phone. Typically, all my other programs is a complimentary consultation that becomes part of their program should they choose to invest. And I'm going to get into that in just a minute too. But let's talk about this phone call, this smoker that's calling. And I'll say, oh, wow, my name's Susie. I didn't get your name. So of course I want to get their name. And they say, oh, my name's John. I go, oh, great, John. I'm so glad you called. May I ask a couple questions about this? And, asking permission. And they say, yeah, sure. And I'll say, okay, well, how many do you smoke in a day? Oh, I smoke about a pack a day. Okay, great. And how long have you been smoking? And they'll tell me. So what I'm doing here is I'm qualifying them to find out, is this person really a potential client today? Is this somebody that has an urgent need to do this right now? Or are they just kind of looky-looing and price shopping because their wife told them to? So, or their doctor or whatever. So I ask them, well, why do you want to stop smoking now? Is there some reason? So I'm listening and finding out, is this an urgent problem? Are they starting to get COPD? Are they noticing shortness of breath? Or Maybe their grandkids are going, "Grandpa, you stink, and I don't wanna be around you." Or whatever their reason, that's what you're finding those clues, you're looking for those clues of those things that are important to them, so you can speak to that as you're talking to them, because there's no point in talking to them about lung cancer if that's not an issue for them. Why even bring that up? I mean, that's just really negative. So you wanna say, "Wow, well, congratulations on taking this step. I know, it's tough to sometimes reach out and find help for things, but, what's have you tried in the past, and why has this been hard for you?" So a couple things are happening here. I'm determining how long they've had the problem. I'm determining too, how bad is the problem? I mean, with smoking cessation, I've actually had clients that were smoking 2 and 3 packs a day. Can you even imagine that? Who has the time? I don't have the time, but anyway, I'm determining how serious this issue is, and I'm calculating what are they already spending on this problem. So they're already investing money in the problem in this case. And okay, let's change that up a little bit because that's a really obvious one. But what is it costing somebody if they continue to feel depressed and have anxiety and they don't fix it? Or they lack confidence in their job and feel like a fish out of water where they're working. And so they're not being as successful as they could be. There's a cost there too. And as long as they stay there, maybe they're losing their sick time. They're taking too much time off. Their boss is giving them the stink eye. They're not getting chosen for opportunities because of this lack of confidence or depression or migraines or insomnia, whatever it is that you specialize in. And so we have to ask those curious questions to get clear on what it's costing them. And then we're reminding them as well what it's costing them. We're helping them get clear on what they want to accomplish. We're getting clear on what the price tag is already. And we speak to that. So we're helping them to make a good decision. And, we're asking about their kids. We're just getting to know them on the phone. And they always, "Well, how much do you charge?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna tell them over the phone until with the smoking cessation, I will, but it's after I've determined they're really ready to quit." And I flat out ask them that. Say, "My program is really great, it's guaranteed, but you have to want to do it. I can't make you do something you don't want to do, but I can powerfully help you do something that you do wanna do." And so then I do give them the amount, they set their appointment, and that's it. It's a 2-hour session, it's done, it's over, one and done. With my other self-improvement programs, though, we're looking at 4 to 8-week transformation programs where we're gonna dig into other things. Obviously, it's not just a habit issue, it's emotions that are tied to the past, to their childhood, to their relationships, to feelings of abandonment, their personality type. Maybe they're trying really hard to be like a super type A driver personality like their dad, but in reality, they're more of a laid back, kind of relaxed, taking my time and moving at my own pace kind of person. And so personality can come into it too. And then people are trying so hard to be something that they're really not instead of embracing their own strengths, get this frustration, depression, anxiety, and all that. So I want to make sure that I am going to speak to all those things and really help this person get from where they are to where they want to be. And the only way to do that is really to get to know them and ask those really important, curious questions. So the complimentary consultation that I do, this is the way that I work. Not all coaches do this, but some charge for their consultation. I don't. I offer it as a compliment. And then if it's a good fit to work together, and that's the whole attitude I'm having the entire time. And I tell them that, "Look, this is the way I work. Come on into the office or let's jump on a Zoom and get to know each other better." I send them my complimentary consultation form, which I'm going to show that to you right now. I talked about this last week, so I'm not going to dig into it as much as I did. You can go back and watch that replay if you want. But when they come in, I have them fill this out, or if I'm doing a Zoom meeting, I send it to them via email and I have them fill it out and send it back to me. And it's just loaded with all sorts of information that I am learning about them so I can make some determinations on how to proceed, how to speak to them in a way that speaks, that talks their language. And then I'm also priming them to make a buying decision here, because it says in the event that you make the informed decision to invest I say use the word invest, not buy, to invest in a personal improvement program, your consultation becomes your first session and will be included as part of your investment. Otherwise, it is complimentary. So I include that in there. And then I have check enclosed, credit card, cash. So it's showing them, they're starting to think, oh, wow, how would I pay for this? So we're getting them in that buying mood. But I'm going to be the first one to tell you, if I don't feel like this person is a good fit to work with me, I'll refer them out. I'm not just going to take anybody just because, for no reason. Here, I'm going to turn. If you have any comments, you can pop them in there in the question there, just drop it down. So you really want to have this whole shift in attitude yourself as a coach, that you are qualifying this person to see if they're a good fit to work with you, if you somebody you want to work with. And then secondly, you're helping them make a good investment decision for themselves. So as you're qualifying this too, you're qualifying to work with you, but also you're qualifying to see that they understand or really are ready. Oh, hi, Shannon. Hang on a second. I'm going to pop you up here. So, hi, Shannon. Put you in there. Let me get rid of this right now. So that's a great question. So what do I say if I feel I needed to refer them out? So that's another skill that you have to learn in transitioning that in a really beautiful way, because you never know, this person could end up coming back to you in the future when they're really ready for what you have to offer. But let's say they're like, oh, no, I don't know. I'm not really ready for that. And I'm thinking, I have a huge network of people, which is part of networking. And why I encourage you to get on your social media and talk to people, especially people that are in like industries, for not only collaboration, but also so you can refer people back and forth, because there is going to come a time where you're just going, I don't really want to work with this person. I don't think they're motivated enough. And, if somebody's not really motivated and you're manipulating them into buying and they're not ready, that just doesn't look good for you. It doesn't look good for anybody. They're not going to do very well. And I had an incident like this happen recently, and I asked repeatedly the gentleman, are you really wanting to do this? Because I felt like the wife was more invested than he was. And sure enough, he did not complete his program. So my first instinct about it was correct. So listen to those instincts. And, it might have been better if I'd referred him out. Okay, so I just say to them, Shannon, I just go, I really enjoyed our talk, and I appreciate you coming in. So you thank them, and I would really love to work together sometime in the future, but I'm just not sure this is a good fit for you right now. And I'd like to refer you. I have some ideas in mind about some other practitioners, whatever, coaches, consultants, hypnotherapists, whatever, that I think would be a better fit for you. So for example, I have a good friend. She's a past client. She'd come to me for her own stuff, and she's also a hypnotherapist, but she's also really into the spiritual part of it. And she goes more into card readings and house clearings and the spirit guides and things like that, a little bit more that direction than I am. And so there's times where I just refer people to her, and she appreciates that because it helps her grow her business too. She's local. Or I might say, hey, you know what? I don't feel like this is a good fit. I'm going to send you down to Dr. Shelley down in LA, the International Hypnosis Federation. Or, you know what? I've referred people to my colleague, Ken Guzzo, who's a smoking cessation specialist too. He charges more than I do. He charges $1,000 for his program. If somebody's just not feeling like they're really cooperating, or they're like balking at the price, I go, look, I suggest that you call my colleague, Ken Guzzo, go up to Sacramento and work with him. And then, so sometimes that's just a better fit. You're not comfortable. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say, I don't think this is the right program for you at this time. I mean, we can entertain it in the future, but I think you would do really well with my colleague, Ken, or, the weight loss clinic down the street, whatever. So hopefully that answers your question there, Shannon. Thank you for that. And of course, we'll be talking Friday because you're part of the 6-Figure Success System, and we'll be checking it out. All right. Okay. Try to get so we can get this out of there now. You are so welcome, sweetheart. All righty. So where was I? So let's go back to um, hold on a second. I got to figure out why that is staying up there. Do, do, do. Let's see if that will make it go away. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so thank you for joining me too. I'm really happy to have you here. And we'll continue with what we were talking about. So we talked about the confidential intake form and how we're kind of using that as a way to get to know them. I'm asking for their birthday. That tells me things about people. I see how old they are, kind of think about what era they grew up in, and learning about different eras of people. This comes in practice. It comes in experience of, obviously I've been doing this for over 30 years. So it comes from experience of being in different environments, out networking and getting to know people of different age groups and belief systems, so you can speak their language, and also listening, being really good at hearing them and their body language. Now, how do you know when it's the right time to say, to transition into the buying process? So Charlotte Jacobs from Thrive Academy, she calls it the lean in. It's when somebody leans in. They're really interested in what you're saying. So how do I get this lean in? And I hope you know what I mean. Somebody's leaning in. It's like they're going to buy. If they're leaning in, they're really thinking about it. So this is good. So watching that body language. So when I'm doing my consultation, I'm going to show you something else here. This is a little sheet I give to everybody, and you can't see the top of it, but at the top it has California Hypnosis Center and my picture and stuff on it. So I've always got my brand out there. And I talk to them about investing in a personal self-improvement program, that it could be one of the best decisions of their life that they'll ever make. And I tell them I speak from experience. If we decide this is a good fit to work together, there's a few things you'll be responsible for to get the most out of your experience. So I'm also giving them some of the responsibility here. And I tell them we'll typically spend about 55 minutes together. So they know what to expect now. And I even explain this about the consultation. And then I do what's called the 4Ds for success. So I'm sharing this as one of my insider secrets. The 4Ds for success. And I talk to them about this in the consultation. After I've gone through the form and asked them all the curious questions, I got the names of their kids and their grandkids, and I find out about their family situation, because that's going to be a pain point too. And all of that. And then I talk about this. Well, I've worked with thousands of people. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you're brand new. That's okay. Just say, after working with many clients, I've discovered a pattern, or that I with those who are most successful when they're working with me. And I call it the 4Ds for success. Is it okay if I share that with you? And they're like, yeah, everybody's always curious about it. So it's kind of funny. So I said, okay, so the first D is for desire. You have to have a desire to do anything, right? And you obviously do, because you picked up the phone and called me. So good for you. So the second D is for decision. And decision is very important. Most people don't realize this, but like the word incision means to cut into, the word decision means to cut off from. And I look them in the eye when I say this. This is classic NLP. And I smile and nod. I say, when you make that decision now, then you're just cutting off from any other option. This is it. You've made your decision. You have the desire to make this change and to improve your life. So really speaking to them. Then I say, but the third D is the most important of all of them, and it is for dedication. You have to be dedicated to your decision. Number one, you have to be dedicated to your decision, number one, and number two, dedicated to the process. Because this is going to be a process. We're going to be working together for several weeks, and it's going to unfold in the perfect way for you as we move along and you're learning these new skills and mindset skills and all this stuff. So I get them like they're thinking like, wow, I'm assuming they are going to be working with me at this point. And it's just so powerful. And then the fourth D you probably can already guess, and that's for do it. You just have to do it. You have to take action, because nothing's going to happen if you don't take action, right? And I'm nodding my head, right? And they're like, yeah. So, and let them know too that they'll be learning some new skills and they will have some behavioral changes to do each day to help incorporate this new way of thinking and being in their life. All right. And I put down here too, I take the pressure off after all that. If it's not if this is not a good fit to work together at this time, that's okay too, because not everything's okay for everybody. And that takes the pressure off. And then you're building that know, like, and trust factor. So after we go through that and I've done the form with them, I say, this is how I work. I want to show you why it's been difficult to make this change and now how it's going to be easy. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah. So always asking permission. So now I'm going to pop this mind model up here again. I think I showed it off a little bit last week, but I basically go through this as a piece of paper I put in front of them, and I have them now scoot closer to my desk. So they've been sitting over a little ways away, but I'm like, could you mind coming over here? So now we're getting close. They're making that move. I'm asking them to move closer to me, and that is bringing them in. We're becoming more intimate in this situation. Now, if I didn't think at this point, this person's someone I want to work with, or it's not a good fit, I am not going to go to this part. 99% of the time I do this mind model, and I'll tell you why. Even if I'm not sure, that if they're really making me uncomfortable, then I just end the meeting. But, if they're not sure, they're kind of still vacillating a little bit, I have them move closer to me. Now we're getting more intimate. I share the mind model with them because they're going to take this with them. If they decide, no, this isn't really right for me right now, they say the dreaded, I can't afford it. You just, I'm going to share with you again. I did this last week. But I'm going to share again the secret to flipping I can't afford it into let's do it in just a minute. But we'll end off with that today. But I go through this mind model explaining the conscious ego mind and how it's very negative and judgmental and always chattering away 65,000 thoughts a day, and how they feel is activated by those negative thoughts, and the subconscious mind just responds, giving them more of what they're thinking about from their beliefs and experiences that they've had all of their life. So I get into this in real depth. It takes a good amount of time. It goes step by step. And then I talk about beta, alpha, theta, and delta brainwaves, explaining that is what hypnosis is. It's not all this crazy stuff that we watch on movies and that sort of thing. So we get that out of the way too. I bring that up. So if they have a question, if they go, oh yeah, can you really make people bark like a dog or whatever? I'm like, no, I kind of bring some humor into it too. I'm like, no, did you want to bark like a dog? Then we just laugh, and I say, no, I don't know how to do that. That's, obviously if I could go out and make people do stuff that they don't want to do, I just go to the bank, right? And then we just laugh about that. I say, no, this is different because this is something you do want to do because of the reasons you told me. And then I kind of review that. Remember, you said because you've had this problem for 20 years, you're tired of it, it's affecting your relationships, your business, whatever we talked about. So I just kind of give that back, and they're like, yeah. And I go, this is why. So the harder you try to get over this, the harder it is. You ever feel like that sometimes? And they're like, yes. So I continue to ask questions that are getting agreement. And, so that's just priming this decision to make a good decision for themselves. So you're really helping them. I talk about imagination. We go over that too, the power of their imagination, and that up until now, they've been imagining what they don't want instead of what they do. And so I said, if you flip that, you start actively imagining what you do want, you're going to create what you want. That's the way this works. We complicate it because nobody gave us the manual, right? This is the manual. So I'm writing all sorts of notes. I talk about vibration on here. And just so you know, as part of the 6-figure success system, I do the full training on this mind model in there. So you will have exactly what to say. You'll have a copy of it as well. And if you want a copy of it, feel free to, I'm going to pop this up here. So if anybody wants to find out more about the 6-figure success system, you can go there and check it out. It includes a weekly mastermind and coaching gym where you get help and accountability every week, but you have lifetime access to all the recorded trainings, documents, and everything that I use in my business. And then I also update it all the time with new technology, all of it, how to do all of it. Anyway, you can check it out there. So if you want a copy of this mind model, just drop me a note below and I will get it off to you. All right. All right. So let's get rid of this now. I'm going to hide that. All right. So you're going through this process of helping these people, this potential client, make an informed decision based on their situation. So now, how do you know when to transition that from the mind model into investing, into getting paid? So you're watching for that lean in, and you're observing their facial expressions, their body language, and then you ask. So I just take a pause and I say, this is a lot of information and all at one time. Do you have any questions about that, or is there anything I can clarify for you? Or do you just have some new insights about yourself? And a lot of times they're like, yeah, I didn't, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I didn't know. I'm like, nobody knows. So now you do. Isn't that great? So just having a nice, happy little dialogue. And then I say, well, Joe, I've really enjoyed talking with you. And, after really taking this time and digging into these issues with you, I would love to work with you. I think it would be a great fit for us to work together. And I'm very goal oriented. I believe that you will accomplish what you came here to do. And based on what you've shared with me, I'm going to recommend my 8-week program. So I go into my drawer, my handy dandy drawer right here. And then they're kind of like, they're waiting. They're anticipating my brochure. Sorry, they fell down. And I hand them this brochure. And in this brochure is listed right there are my programs. And so they're all here. There's the 4-session, 6-session, and 8-session, which I call my Transformation 8 program. And I pull it out, put it in front of them. And then with my pen, I mark it right there. I put a star next to the program that I think would fit them, will help them accomplish their goal. And I'm serious about this. If I don't think they need 8 sessions, I've told people, you know what? I think that you're onto something here. You're already doing really well. I think that let's just do the base program of 4, and then we'll see where you're at that time. But I think that will be enough. So I come from a place of integrity always in what I recommend for people. There's no point in having someone go for 8 weeks if they really don't need it. So that's it. I put this in front of them. I mark the program I think that I just told them I recommended for them. And then I shut up. That's the hardest part for me. That's the truth. I have such a hard time shutting up because I love to talk about all this stuff. That's why I do it. I'm doing this hypnotherapy coaching for 26 years and I love it. So the hardest part for me is just to be quiet because they have to, as you can tell, right? They have to take a minute and think. They need a minute to think things through, to think about how much credit they have on their credit card or in their bank account. If they brought the right card with them, what is their spouse going to think? Is it okay? Maybe they don't have that kind of relationship where they have to check with their spouse, but sometimes people do. They have an agreement that anything over $500, I got to check with my wife. And, so we have to have some respect for that, for sure. All right. However, we also need to help them not use that as an excuse to keep from moving forward. Now, I just recently had a couple people that came in for their consult and they're like, oh, I really need to sleep on this and move some stuff around. I just got to move some stuff around. And I'm like, okay, great, no problem. But of course, then I text them, I follow up with them, I send a thank you note, all that kind of stuff. So be respectful. But if they flat just come out and you see them lean back, so they're not leaning in anymore, they're going, I don't think this is, I really can't afford this. Because my Transformation 8 program is $2,000. I have another one that's $3,000. So, it is an investment. And then somewhere along during the consultation too, I do bring up that, coaches like Tony Robbins charges $1 million. It isn't about the money. I just want to share that with you right now. When you are clear on your niche and who your ideal client is, it's never going to be about the money. The money is in your own mind. Because there are people that make 200, 300, 400, $500,000 a year are not going to have any problem dropping a couple $1,000s to work with you. And those are the people that are my ideal clients. That's who I focus on. I do help other people, but I do it in a different way. There's nothing wrong with helping people that really truly can't afford it because they're on a fixed income or whatever. But you can do that in a group, like do that in a different way. So, but with this part of your business, it's all about business, and you want to focus on people that have the means to pay you and understand the value of self-improvement. It's a lot of times people who've invested in other coaching programs. Those are your ideal clients. Totally. So anyway, so what happens if they're just kind of, I can't afford it, but you know that it really would benefit them and they're just being wishy-washy. Some people are just wishy-washy because they don't believe enough in themselves. So this is the script that I use right here. I'll say, hey, Joe, I totally get it. I really do. Sometimes it can be really difficult to give ourselves permission to invest in ourselves. I get it. Sometimes that's tough because we're always doing things for everybody else and, taking care of everybody else. Let me ask you something about that, if I may. And they're like, okay. Well, let's just imagine for a minute that it's 6 months from now. So where would that take us? I actually have them think of the date. So it'll be somewhere around the end of June. So summertime. So let's imagine it's summertime now and you are still dealing with this problem. It hasn't changed. You're trying to change it on your own, but you're still having the same results. Nothing's changed. And in fact, maybe it's even worse. And you look back to today, all the way back to today in our conversation. And let's imagine that 6 months from now, after doing your self-improvement program, life is good. And I list off all the things they said they wanted to accomplish. You're feeling better. You've dropped 30 pounds. You have more energy for your grandkids. You get a promotion at work. You're confident talking in front of people, blah, 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 blah. And then I say, now, imagine you don't. And it's almost like a miracle. It flips the switch so fast. I have had people whip their checkbooks out and they're like, I don't need to talk to my wife. Because you're showing them exactly what's going to happen if they don't do this right now. But this, again, like I said, in integrity, you've done all the pre-qualifying. You've really dug into what they want and you've helped them get really clear on what they really want to accomplish. And you've determined it's a good fit for them and it is going to change their life. If you don't feel like that, then let them go. It's okay. If you really think, oh, maybe they really can't afford it. Maybe sometimes though, don't second guess yourself because sometimes, especially if you're a new coach or a new hypnotherapist, they go, oh, poor them. They really can't afford it. They do have all these problems. But if they remember though, if they invest in this and in themselves right now, that those problems are going to dissolve in the future, in the near future. They're going to feel better and be able to handle things better. So don't let that be an excuse for you to just accept I can't afford it, like it's, no big deal. But you have to get good at really determining the urgency of the problem, that you feel you really are confident that you can help them and that they are motivated. They're motivated to make the change. And now they're using this money thing as an excuse when it really is just an excuse. And there's more training about that too. Whole script on, I've learned that people make excuses about things. There's a whole nother thing you can add into your consultation that pre-wires them for that, for the end of the conversation and for what we would call the sales close. So that is how you handle that dreaded, I can't afford it. And if you do this really well, you will minimize that ever even coming up. So everything I've been sharing with you is actually to kind of tackle those excuses long before you get to the buying decision. So what happens to me a lot, and I'm going to be really transparent here. Um, what happens to me a lot is I don't even get to this point before they're like, "Well, what do we have to do? I'm on board. How much is it? Do you take credit cards?" That literally happens all the time, like, people throwing credit cards at me, and I want that to happen for you too. Now, it wasn't like that in the beginning because I had to learn, I had to transfer some of my other skills from other business into this business, and I had to polish it up and work with my coaches, which I have done and invested in. I'm a huge believer in coaching. I mean, that's what we're doing, right? So we've got to believe in it too, so that we can be better at what we do. And that's going to be what Tony Robbins calls CANI, constant and never ending improvement. So you're always going to be hiring coaches and learning what's next and polishing up your skills and going to the next level and next level. So I hope this has been super helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you. And again, if you want to find out more, you can feel free to reach out to me, private message me, and or just go visit the sixfiguresuccesssystem.com and find out about the program. It is so affordable for what you get. I mean, it literally is everything you need, step by step by step, to put the systems in place that will make you a rock star in your business and make it easy for you. So at first though, you got to roll up your sleeves. You always got to put the work in when things are new. But once those systems are in place, then you just start working on building the relationships and you are having clients. And so it's all in there. Anyway, thank you. Have a great, great, great rest of your day. I am going to end off with a little bit of fun. I'll see you later. Oh, next week we'll be talking about more goodness. I forget now what I was going to talk about, but we'll get there. We'll definitely do it. More ways to build your business. See you then. Bye.